Okay, good morning, guys. Really sorry that we had to do this instead of having a live class, but there's computer problems and we kept getting kicked off, so we're just going to do it this way for today. So we are on day 17 of our first module. Today we are on the second day with our book, Why Do Leaves Change Colors? All right, so today we are going to work on a writing activity. Okay, it's like the beginning part of it. I keep moving my podium. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you so we can get started. Watching our video with Miss Sabella. And we also have a question set quiz to take today. So we will do that at the end of the lesson. All right, here we go.
Welcome back, friends. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher, and I'm so excited to continue to dive into Why Do Leaves Change Color? Today you'll need handout 21A, the details collection strips, handout 21B, topic sentences and details, your journal, scissors, and your pencil. So pause here to gather what you need and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so you guys are not going to need scissors and you're not going to need the two handouts. Watch Miss Sabella do it, and then we're going to do it together on the screen, okay? But you do need your journal and you do need a pencil.
Why Do Leaves Change Color is informational text. I see the word science, and I also read the sentence, let's read and find out. When I see those together, that makes me think as a reader that this is informational text. I will say that the cover of this book is a little tricky. Because the cover does not have a photograph, it can be a little tricky. So that's why as a reader, you need to look a little bit closer, and those words in the corner can help us. Today we're going to read sections of this text closely to determine or figure out what is happening in this text. Since this is informational text, we'll use buttons and bags to help us think about details and main topic. Before we look for key details in the main topic, let's explore a key term from the text that can help us better understand the change that happens to leaves. Here's the word absorb. Let's echo read the sentence with absorb. And remember, echo read means I'll read the sentence first, and then you can read the sentence out loud. The green color in the leaves helps them to absorb or hold sunlight. Now it's your turn to read the sentence.
The green color in the leaves helps them to absorb or hold light.
Authors of informational text often define a new word right after and in the same sentence. Let's take a look again. Absorb or hold sunlight. Absorb means to hold, and the author helped us as readers by putting that simple definition right after the word. That's called a context clue. If we were to look up the word absorb in a dictionary, we could also find this definition. Absorb also means to soak up. Please grab handout 21A and your pencil. And at the very top of the handout, even above your name, please write read pages 9 through 12. Purpose in mind, I would like to gather a detail about what.
Only hit a button. Okay, so you do not have this handout, so we're just going to watch Miss Sabella and listen to her explain how to do it.
21A and your pencil. And at the very top of the handout, even above your name, please write read pages 9 through 12. Pause here to do that, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
All right, so pages 9 through 11. I'm going to read aloud to you, okay? So just a few weeks ago, all the leaves were green. Back in the spring, the tiny new leaves uncurled from their buds. The green color in the leaves helps them to absorb or hold sunlight. Chlorophyll gives the leaves their green coloring. Chlorophyll is a natural coloring called a pigment. We have veins, upper surface, chlorophyll, an air hole, and air space. And that's the inside of a leaf. Leaves are very important to the tree. They make a kind of sugar that is the tree's food. Leaves need sunlight, water, and air to make this food. The leaves work to feed the tree all summer long. The sugar is used by all parts of the tree: the leaves, branches, trunk, and roots. The food, or sugar, helps the tree to grow. Extra sugar is stored in the leaves. In the fall, many things are changing. In many places, there is a change in the weather. There are changes in light and temperature. Inside the leaves, there will be many changes too. All of these changes bring about the beautiful colors of fall. In the fall, there are fewer hours of sunlight each day. The change in light tells the tree to get ready for winter. Winter is a time of rest for the tree. When winter comes, the tree will have to survive with less water and sunlight. That was pages 9 through 12. So now let's go back to see what Miss Sabella is having us do with that chart.
We're going to read pages 9 through 12 closely so we can learn what happens to leaves and trees during each of the seasons. As I read page 9, I'm reading with this purpose in mind. I would like to gather a detail about what happens to leaves or trees during the spring. So you can help me. As I'm reading, listen carefully for what happens to leaves and trees during the spring. Here we go. Just a few weeks ago, all the leaves were green. Back in the spring, the tiny new leaves uncurled from their buds. I heard something about the tiny new leaves in the spring. The sentence was, back in the spring, the tiny new leaves uncurled from their buds. That's a detail that I can add to my handout. As you can see, right next to the first button, I wrote down the page number where I located or found this detail. This detail was about new leaves in the spring and that they uncurled from their buds. Let's do one more together. And on page 11, I want you to listen with this purpose in mind. What's happening to the leaves in the trees during the summer? Here we go. Leaves are very important to the tree. They make a kind of sugar that is the tree's food. Leaves need sunlight, water, and air to make this food. The leaves work to feed the tree all summer long. Wow, that's an important detail to remember. The leaves work to feed the tree all summer long. I need to jot that down on my handout. Pause here to check my work. Check to make sure I've jotted down the page number and also details about leaves during the summer season. As I read page 12, jot down details about what's happening to leaves and trees in autumn and in winter. In the fall, many things are changing. In many places, there is a change in the weather. There are changes in light and temperature. Inside the leaves, there will be many changes too. All of these changes bring about the beautiful colors of fall. In the fall, there are fewer hours of sunlight each day. The change in the light tells the tree to get ready for winter. Winter is a time of rest for the tree. When winter comes, the tree will have to survive with less water and sunlight. Feel free to pause and to scroll back on the timeline if you'd like to listen to it again. And then pause to jot down what you learned about leaves and trees in the winter. And then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so you don't have that worksheet, so we're not actually going to write anything on the worksheet right now, so we're just listening.
Pause here to read the chart to yourself before we review it together, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. As we review the chart, and as you listen to each of the details, I want you to start to think about, what do all these details have in common, especially across the seasons? What's happening? What's the big idea? Ready? Here we go. In autumn, leaves turn different colors. Light and temperature change. Leaves die and fall. In the winter, the trees rest and there is less water and sun. In the spring, new leaves come from buds, and in the summer, leaves are green and leaves feed trees and help them grow. Pause here to think about the big idea or to discuss it with a learning partner, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so what do you think the big idea is? What is the main idea of this whole text so far? What do you think the author wants you to learn? Because remember, that is what the main idea is what the author wants you to learn from the book. So if you have a grown-up or a sibling near you, what I want you to do is look at this chart carefully, think about what the main idea is, and tell the person near you what the author is wanting you to learn from this text. So you can push pause, talk to your neighbor, and then when you're done, you can push play to keep going.
What's happening to the leaves and trees across the seasons? What's the main topic that holds all these details together? Share your idea with your learning partner or shout it out loud to me. There's always more than one possibility, but one possibility for the main topic is this. Leaves and trees change a lot in autumn, and all of the details that we've captured in the chart below support that main topic. Today we'll learn how to end or conclude informative paragraphs. Pause here to grab handout 21B and scissors, and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so remember guys, we don't have that. okay? But we're gonna watch Miss Sabella do one, and then we're gonna do one together on the board, on the screen.
Today, we'll only be working with the sentences in Exemplar 1. At this time, cut out the sentences on the dotted lines and place them on a table in front of you or on the floor in front of you, so you'll be able to move them around as we read together. Pause here to cut out the sentences in Exemplar 1, and then when you're ready, just hit play to continue.
We're not doing that part. Keep watching.
Here are my sentence strips all cut up, and I'd love to think through these together. Before I start moving them around, I'm going to read each sentence and pause to think, is it a detail, or is it a main topic, or could it be a conclusion? Here's the first sentence in our mixed up pile. Finally, it's time to jump into the piles of leaves. There's two things that I notice when I read this sentence. I notice the sequencing word finally. So that would belong toward the end of a paragraph, definitely not at the beginning. It's time to jump into a pile of leaves. That sounds very small, like a detail, not an essential idea that would tie many details together. So I'm thinking this is a piece of evidence, but it's evidence that would belong near the end of a paragraph. Here's the next sentence in my mixed up paragraph. Fall leaves create opportunities for work and play. That could be a big idea, an essential idea. I'm going to tuck that thought away that this could be the topic statement for the paragraph. It is definitely not a small button. It could be a bag. Pause here to tell your learning partner what you think it could be. Do you think it's a detail, or do you think it's a bigger idea that could tie the details together? Just hit play when you're ready to continue. Here's the third sentence in our mixed up paragraph. Working and playing with leaves can be fun. I'm wondering, could it be a topic statement or a conclusion, or could it be a detail? I need to keep reading, and I need to keep thinking about it. Here's the fourth sentence in our mixed up paragraph. First, the leaves fall off the trees. There's two things that I notice here. I notice the sequencing word first. I'm also thinking that this is a detail and it's small like a button. So I'm thinking this is a piece of evidence in the paragraph. And since it has the word first at the beginning, I'm thinking it goes toward the top of the paragraph. Here's the last sentence in our mixed up paragraph. Then it's time to rake the leaves. Again, there's two things that I notice. I noticed it begins with a sequencing word, and that word is then. I'm also thinking that this is just one thing that you could do outside in the fall, raking leaves. So this is probably a detail. It's small like a button. Now that we've had a chance to read through each sentence, it's time to put our paragraph together. I'm going to put the evidence together first. First, the leaves fall off the trees. Then it's time to rake the leaves. I'm going to wrap up my evidence with the sentence that begins with the word finally. This is my last piece of evidence. Now I need to reread the 2 sentences that I have left. And I need to think about which one could be the topic statement and which one could be the conclusion. Which one do you think should be the topic statement and which one could be a conclusion that would remind the readers what the paragraph is about? Pause here to reread the sentences and to try them out in the paragraph, and also discuss them with the learning partner. Which one would be a topic statement and which one could be the conclusion? Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so the first sentence says, fall leaves create opportunities for work and play. And the next one says, working and playing with leaves can be fun. So the topic statement is what introduces the evidence, okay? So the evidence to be talking about fall leaves, work and play with fall leaves. So first, the leaves fall off the trees, okay? Then it's time to rake the leaves. Well, that would be working with leaves. Finally, it's time to jump into the pile of leaves, and that would be playing with leaves. So it looks like this is talking about working and playing with leaves, which makes me think this is probably the best topic statement. This sentence, working and playing with leaves can be fun. That's kind of like, you know, when you tell your friends a story about what you did one time and then you're like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. That kind of feels like that's what this sentence is doing. It's wrapping it up. It's like ending the story about how, oh, I had so much fun doing that. So I think the topic statement is going to be, fall leaves create opportunities for work and play. First, the leaves fall off the trees. Then it's time to rake the leaves. Finally, it's time to jump into the piles of leaves. Working and playing with leaves can be fun. I think that's how it should sound. So let's see what Miss Sabella says.
Here is a possible informative paragraph. Remember that the topic statement and conclusion are usually so similar that you could even switch them around. But this is one way that we could build the paragraph. Fall leaves create opportunities for work and play is a main idea or a topic statement that ties the details together. Working and playing with leaves can be fun could be a conclusion that reminds the reader what the paragraph is about. We can now add conclusion to our informative writing anchor chart. The conclusion reinforces what the paragraph is about, and it may also restate the topic statement, which means it may sound very similar to the topic statement. And it comes at the end, where the topic statement comes at the beginning. And notice how the chart is set up. The topic statement comes at the top, just like it would in the paragraph. The evidence is in the middle and supports the topic statement, and the conclusion comes at the end, near the bottom of a paragraph. Pause here to review the chart, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so we have learned that the topic statement tells the essential idea or what the paragraph is about. It answers questions about things, and it usually comes at the beginning of the sentence. The evidence of a paragraph helps develop the topic, it helps support the topic statement, and it comes from the text. And it's usually in the middle of a paragraph. And then we are learning today about a conclusion, which reinforces what the paragraph is about. And it may restate the topic statement, and it usually comes near the end.
Since you're so observant, you probably saw the check mark in the corner. Here's an opportunity for you to share your new learning about conclusions with your classroom teacher. At this time, grab your Instinct journal and jot this question into your journal. And then take some time to think about this question and write a response to the question. What does a conclusion do? Pause the video here so you can work in your journal and you can think about this question and then write the answer to your question, and then hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so you are going to do this in your journal today on page 30. Let me stop sharing so I can show you. Okay, so in your knowledge response journal on page 30, you're going to write, what does a conclusion do? Okay, so you're going to do that today. Let me show you first. Yesterday, I forgot to talk about this with you, but on page 29, it's on your Google Classroom assignment, but I want to go over it with you. You're supposed to write about, today I learned. So yesterday was our first day with the book, Why Do Leaves Change Colors? And I wanted you to tell me what you learned. Okay, so you're going to write, today I learned, and I wrote 4 things that I learned yesterday. That trees make their own food through leaves, that there are so many things inside a leaf. I learned that leaves have their fall color hidden under the color all year long. And I learned that the natural color in plants and animals are called pigments. So if you notice, I use bullets, little bullet points, little dots, okay? So they don't have to be a complete sentence when you do a bullet. You can just write what you're thinking. So yesterday, part of your assignment was some things that you learned on page 29. And then today is page 30. What does a conclusion do? And since this is a video recording, you can go back and listen to what Miss Sabella just told us about what a conclusion does. All right, so I'm going to reshare so we can finish our video lesson.
How does change impact people in nature? Well, you learned so much today that can help you answer that essential question. I will see you very soon, my friends.
Okay, so that was the end of the video lesson. So you have 2 short things to do today. One finished from yesterday, what you learned today. So finish that from yesterday. Please make sure that you did your notices and your wonders yesterday also. 2 notices and 1 wonder. So I said, I don't know if I told you these yesterday or not. My notices were, I noticed the leaves have their fall colors all the time. I noticed that leaves make their own food. I noticed on page 12, the birds were flying in a V. And on my wonders, I wonder why the tree can't keep green leaves in winter. And why are the pigments in the leaves hidden by the chlorophyll? So yesterday you did notices and wonders and told me what you learned. Today on page 30, you're going to write and tell me, what does a conclusion do? And be prepared, because tomorrow in class I'm going to draw somebody random to answer that question. Okay. All right, so that is the whole lesson for today. And we're going to do a quiz now. So I'm going to show you how to get to it so that you can take your question set quiz for today. So I'm going to share one more time. I'm going to get out of this video. Okay, so if you go to, oops, wrong classroom. If you go to our page, go to classwork. Make sure you are on Wit and Wisdom week 7. This is October 1st. So this is our week. So don't forget you have a new fluency homework that you need to be working on. It just started today. Okay, so you're going to read it Thursday, day 1, Friday, day 2, Monday, day 3, Tuesday, day 4. Okay, your parents need to date it and initial it every time you read it, 3 to 5 times each time. Oops, I guess I should read it to you, huh? All right, it says just a few weeks ago, all the leaves were green. Back in the spring, the tiny new leaves uncurled from their buds. The green color in the leaves helps them to absorb or hold sunlight. Chlorophyll gives the leaves their green coloring. Chlorophyll is a natural color called a pigment. So you're going to read that 3, 4, or 5 times tonight, Friday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. You can turn it in Tuesday after you finish reading it, or you can turn it in Wednesday morning. So that's your new fluency. And remember, here's your vocabulary that you're supposed to be putting in your vocabulary journal. Okay, we have the word shape, separate, absorb, uncurled, disappear, chlorophyll, flutter, huddle, drift, and stream. Let's see who's on here. Amelia Brown is on here, and Henry is on here, and Lulu. They're working on their vocabulary right now as I am videoing this lesson. Thank you, guys. All right, so that's your vocabulary. Here is the book, Why Do Leaves Change Color? Okay, let's see. Wednesday, Thursday. One second. Okay, I'm back. So I found what I was looking for, but I also remembered that we were supposed to do a sample paragraph together. So we're going to do that before we leave. Share my screen. All right, so here is our sample paragraph. So we have sentences all mixed up. Squirrels collect food for winter. Fall is a busy time for squirrels. In fall, some animals get ready for cold weather. They hide nuts and acorns. With this stored food, they will have enough food for the winter. So we're going to decide which one of these is evidence, which of these would be a good topic statement, which would be a good conclusion. Okay, so remember the topic statement introduces the evidence, and the conclusion sums it all up. So maybe we should look for things that are evidence first to put those in the right spot. So squirrels collect food for winter. Well, this seems to me like it's a very specific, it's talking about just one animal. So it's a small detail. So this makes me think this is a piece of evidence. So I'm going to move it over here. This is one of our evidence sentences. Okay. So fall is a busy time for squirrels. Well, it is telling me about, it's making me think this is telling about all the things that squirrels have done in the fall, because it says it's a busy time. So I think they've done more than one thing in the fall. So I don't think that's going to be an evidence. That's either going to be our topic statement or our conclusion. In fall, some animals get ready for cold weather. Well, this says some animals. It doesn't just talk about squirrels like our evidence over here did. That makes me think it's a much bigger topic. It's talking about many different kinds of animals. So I don't think that's a piece of evidence. That's either going to be the topic statement or the conclusion, I think. They hide nuts and acorns. Well, who do we know that hides nuts and acorns? Squirrels do, right? So this also seems like a very small detail. So I think this is going to be our second piece of evidence. And then our last one is, with this stored food, they will have enough food for the winter. Well, who do you think it's talking about? Who's they? I think because it's talking about how squirrels collect food and they hide nuts and acorns. So that makes me think that this is talking about squirrels will have enough food for the winter. So I think this is going to be our third piece of evidence. So we have, I'm going to move these up so I have room. So we have one piece of evidence here. Okay, so there's evidence sentence 1, evidence sentence 2, evidence sentence 3. Okay, so now we need to come up with our topic statement and our conclusion. So which one of these do you think introduces these pieces of evidence? Fall is a busy time for squirrels, or in fall, some animals get ready for cold weather. Which one? Well, I mean, they both kind of sound like they could be the topic statement, but remember the conclusion sums up what we have all talked about. What is all of our evidence talking about? It's talking about what squirrels do in the fall to get ready for winter. This green sentence does not talk squirrels, so it can't be the conclusion sentence. But this red sentence talks about how squirrels are so busy in the fall. I think that this one is our conclusion, which means that this sentence, which talks about some animals get ready for the winter, would be the topic statement. So let's read it and see if it sounds good. In fall, some animals get ready for cold weather. Squirrels collect food for winter. They hide nuts and acorns. With this stored food, they will have enough food for the winter. Fall is a busy time for squirrels. How does that sound, guys? Does the topic statement introduces some animals, and then we narrow it down to talk about just squirrels? And then we conclude it, we sum it all up at the end by saying that squirrels are very busy in the fall. I think it sounds great. Okay, so to get to your quiz today, your assessment, you're going to go to the Google Classroom. Okay, so you're going to log on to the classroom, go to the classwork section. Today is week 7, and here the very first one, Thursday, module 1, question set 6. You're going to open that up and take your quiz today. All right, so that is all I have for you today. Take your quiz, do your writing on page 30 about what a conclusion does. And make sure that you did page 29 on what you learned yesterday. All right, so have a great afternoon. I hope to see you this afternoon in Live Phonics. Bye.